What's up everybody, Blue Suit Reviews, another video. I have a product review and a mod that you do not want to miss. Every car owner should have one of these. Stay tuned. The review that we're doing today is for the Rexing dash cam. So this camera is a two-piece or two-part system. There's a camera right here in the front, and there is a camera, you can see it right there in the middle of the dash underneath the third brake light in the back. A dash cam is definitely something you need to have in your car, and the reason why I say that is because a police report is only going to get you so far in terms of trying to prove whether or not you were at fault in the accident. So hopefully, as a driver, you're attentive, you're paying attention all the time. But let's face it, people get tired. There are a ton of distractions. I know people are on their phones while they're driving, which you should never ever do. You should always be hands-free. You should never be on social media while you're driving. But let's face it, people do it. I know I've been in traffic a ton of times and looked over at the car next to me and seen a person like head completely down, not paying attention to traffic at all, texting on social media or whatever it is that they're doing. Regardless of what they're doing, they're not paying attention to the road. If you're gonna be out here driving, you have to have some additional insurance. You have to have additional insurance. Yeah, everybody knows about the company insurance that that most people have on their vehicles. Progressive, State Farm, not endorsing any specific company because rates vary depending on what state you live in, what's your driving record. I know when I was in the Air Force, being on base versus being off base got you a little bit of a discount because the base is a secured area. Once I moved off base, insurance rates changed a lot, premiums changed. If you live in a gated community, things like if you have an active car alarm on your car and all that stuff. I don't know all of the specifics and the logic behind how insurance gets you discounts, but when you go to make a claim, if you go to make a claim, hopefully you never have to make a claim. If you have to make a claim, it would definitely be beneficial to have a piece of video evidence to send your insurance company, to the lawyer if you need one. Hopefully you don't. Hopefully it's just a fender bender, or whatever happens, you can just get it cleared up with the insurance company. But you should also have that video evidence for highway patrol, law enforcement, or whoever responds to the accident, so that they can write an accurate police report. This is the Rexing dash cam. Again, it's a two-piece system. If you look at the very top, this is your power cord, and the bottom is it's made like a 2.3 millimeter jack, but that jack connects to the rear camera, which is shining out of the back of the car. If you look at this screen over to the right, this portion of the screen where I'm pointing, that portion of the screen shows the viewer the front of, or in front of the car. There's a small square over to the left that shows a live video of everything that's happening behind the car. I think it's very beneficial to have the two-part camera system. The reason is because everything doesn't happen right in front of the car. Things happening on the side of the car, behind the car. When you're driving, people are moving all around you, so you want to have at least a 180 view of your surroundings. Now, they do make cars with camera systems that can see all the way around the car, but as far as I know, I haven't seen systems out there that you can purchase for a reasonable price that come with 4 cameras that you can mount on the car and be able to record video evidence from all angles of the car. The next best option is the cheaper aftermarket dash cams like this one. I think this one cost me around $140. I'm gonna place a link in the description below so you can see how much this camera system actually costs. And you don't have to go with this. I am not endorsing this at all. It does the job for me, but there are a ton of dash cam options out there that you can go with to fit your needs. The reason why I went with this is because it's incredibly easy to use. And it has some cool features like a shock sensor that allows the camera to turn on. As long as the camera has power, it allows the camera to turn on if the car is jacked up, if it's raised as if it's being towed, or if it's bumped. So if the car is in the parking lot and the ignition is not on, the car is not running, it still has a hardwire feed into the battery that will allow the camera to turn on even if the car is not running. So I think that's really cool. Other features of the camera is it shoots in 1080p, which the video in 1080p it's good enough for my purposes. The video that I've gotten off of this camera before is definitely clear enough to be used in case something ever did happen. And it has other features like a loop feature where it records and it dumps the very last clip that it records in order to save space. So you could put a decent size SD card in it and just record continuously. So there's actually no reason to take the SD card out of this thing and clear the SD card, which I saw there were some models that you would have to remove the SD card and clear video. The camera would actually tell you that it's full. But this thing is, I mean, it's pretty cool. Again, don't have to get this model. This is the Rexing two-piece dash camera, front dash and rear dash camera. But you don't have to get this one. You can get any dash camera. There's some very expensive ones out there. There's some really cheap ones. But for sure, I think you should get the camera that absolutely fits your needs, that is easy to work with. And you should definitely get a camera that has both the forward and the rear facing view, so that you're able to record video from in front of and behind you, just in case you're ever rear-ended or something like that. The installation on this guy, I would put it on a scale of 1 to 5, I would put it at around a 2. It is not very difficult to install, but it is time consuming. The first thing you do is you pick a good spot on your glass. You want to clean it really well with something with low lint, towel with low lint, and then you also want to get alcohol and make sure you get as much dirt off of the windshield or the surface that you're going to put it on as possible. It does come with a 3M mounting plate right there, and this thing is extremely sturdy and it's very sticky. Like, that does not move at all. It is definitely on there. The camera doesn't shake much, but now that I'm mentioning that, the camera has a shake function. If it's enabled, it makes the video a lot more still for viewing, or it records. It actually makes the video more solid, so that when you're viewing it, there's not a whole lot of shaking from the bumps while you're driving. So after you get the camera mounted in a reasonable spot, you want to make sure you leave yourself room to run your wires, and you want to make sure you leave yourself room to remove the camera if you ever need to do that. On the left side of the camera, there's a slot for an SD card, and there are 2 buttons. One button is for menu options, and the other button is for power. In the front of the camera, there's a little rotating wheel that allows you to adjust the camera height, which is cool. So after you mount it, it doesn't have to be in a specific spot the entire time. You can actually tilt the camera up or down based off of how your car is made and all of that stuff. The 2 wires coming out of here, one is for power, and again, this wire at the bottom goes to the camera in the back. The camera in the back needs no individual power itself. It gets all of its power from this one cord that is plugged into the side of the brain or the front-facing camera. When you're running your wires, you do have to, I think the best thing to do is to go up into the headliner, which is what I did. And I did take the screws out for this sun visor, I took a lot of this paneling off so that I could get the wires to run exactly where I wanted them to, all the way back. The wires do go into the trunk. Well, the power wire goes into the trunk, and the rear-facing camera wire goes to, obviously, the rear-facing camera. The power wire is hooked into the fuse box. It may be kind of hard to see, but the power wire from the Rexing is, microphone is catching shadow, but this is the power wire right here, and it goes into the fuse box, this fuse box in the back of the car. So it's an incredibly easy install. Underneath the lid to the fuse box, you pull this lid off, which I can't pull on it too much because the power wire to the camera is modified to go through the side of this panel. If you look down here, you can see how I drilled a hole in the side of the panel so that I could run the power wire through the side of the panel and still be able to shut the panel. So the power wire itself is tapped into the fuse location for the sunroof. I don't have a sunroof, so I'm just using the power from the sunroof to operate the camera. The way it works is as soon as the car sees, or as soon as the camera sees the accessory switch has been turned on, so as soon as I hit the start button on the car, the camera turns on. So the camera has really great video even at night. It does have a night vision function, so you don't have to worry about when you're out at night the video quality being low just because there's low light outside. So before I wrap up, I just want to say again, I definitely believe this is a mod that every vehicle owner should have. Surveillance is definitely the future. It's most definitely the way to prove your point in any situation, or really generally to just protect yourself when you're out here driving on the road, especially if you drive in a place that has some very interesting drivers like Florida does. I appreciate you tuning into this video. If you haven't seen my other videos, please go check those out. As usual, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you know when new videos are coming out. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, please go over to Instagram and hit the follow. I do follow back. I post events, I post car content, I post pretty much anything I can get my hands on. So if cars and vehicles and mods and reviews is your thing, you want to stay tuned, you want to stick with me, because we do a lot of that here, and we do all cars. Again, Blue Suit Reviews, I appreciate you tuning in. Until I see you in the next video, stay safe out there.